So I want to give a quick demo explanation of this flight simulator project. It's probably had around about 8 hours working in collaboration with Claude Code. So I don't think Claude could have done it without me, and I certainly couldn't have done it in 8 hours without Claude Code. Okay, let's just run it to see it running first. So the idea of the project is a radio-controlled aircraft flight simulator. I've written one of these before by hand called Peterson. It's pretty fully featured and all the rest of it, realistic. So I just wanted to see, whether or not Claude Code could actually, make something which is kind of similar. It's like very 3D graphical interactive application. Has kind of quite strong requirements on realism for the physics and so on. Okay, so flying my little radio control plane around. Basic functionality is, we can fly the plane using 3 different cameras. I'm flying it with a game controller, and we can switch between the cameras. So there's a ground view, there's a cockpit view, and there's a chase camera. We have a menu system, and so here we can change sceneries. So I've made 2 sceneries so far. We switch to this one with buildings in the background, so you can fly around. Try and avoid the buildings. Oops. Okay, and you may have seen we also I made 2 planes. They're very, very similar at the moment. It's just really testing out the system. So one we've been flying is a basic trainer. This one is a sports plane, as it were. I just made a few little differences. So, for example, let's just get it back to just get the follow camera. We can have a little look. So we can also move the camera around in the chase view. So you can see it's got an undercarriage. You can see as I adjust the rudder, that also steers the tail wheel. For the underlying physics, it's using bullet physics, but with the aerodynamics on top. So, we have our collisions. We can crash into things. It's a bit spinny. You can see we got, to reset the camera. So we got shadows using shadow mapping. It took, I think, around about 5-10 minutes to implement shadows in this by Claude, not by me. We have displacement and normal mapping on the textures and so on. You can see I'm connected with a game controller. Can also control it with the keyboards. So arrows. It's very snappy because it uses full controls. As you can see, you would never fly a plane like this in real life. You can see on the bottom it's got a little head-up display showing the control inputs. The top right is also showing text. Basically, you're just proving out little bits of the system. So, top right is the speed and the altitude. Top left is the FPS, obviously. And as you saw, we have a menu system. Okay, and I have to say, it kind of flies around pretty realistically for such a simple aerodynamic implementation. It's not kind of fully realistic. So I can, I'll be adding better aerodynamics soon. But we fly around and we can stall the plane and it will kind of drop out of the sky. The stall isn't really quite as hard as you'd expect it to be. But I reckon that I could hand this to somebody who's never flown a radio control plane before. And after practicing on this, they could essentially learn to fly. I'm flying around reasonably competently here, but it's this thing of being able to fly towards you and not getting confused by the orientation and so on. Okay, so I'll have a quick show of the setup. Okay, so the setup uses JSON for the configuration. So we have our aircraft. Oops. So as I said, we have these 2 aircraft. is basically the application will just pick up the whatever files are in here. So we have the aircraft are defined by a collection of parts. So we can have like fuselage parts which just add drag, or aerodynamic surfaces which have then got the aerodynamics properties and so on. Oh, I'm going to run it again because I just remembered I forgot to show you. Okay, so when we run, we can enable some debug drawing. And this will show things like the center of mass. Just view from the side. So the yellow is the center of mass, which is kind of quite useful being able to see that for when we actually set up the plane. We just need to balance the plane. And then also the arrows that you can see are the forces. So the green is the lift force, red is the drag force, and the white is the total. So you can see as I use the ailerons, then the ailerons essentially tilt the wing, and so one side gets more lift than the other. And you can see also actually out at the wingtip. So when I bank to the right, then on the left wingtip, the force is less than near the root. And the reason is because as we're rotating, the angle of attack actually changes along the wing. If you think about it, the wingtip is actually kind of moving up, which kind of counteracts the effect of the control surface, and therefore we don't get the lift at the wingtip, which is kind of quite interesting. So you can see as we stall, the lift will drop off, it will the nose will drop, and so on. Okay. Okay, so yes, we have these these parts. We also define in there the wheels and how they steer and all the rest of it. And for the engine here, it's a simple like force producer, like a sort of jet engine. It's not a proper propeller yet, but I should say, maybe it's really obvious, but all the graphics, especially on the plane, is it's just placeholder at the moment. It's just showing the actual physical parts. And also the aerodynamics, as I say, is very simple at the moment. Okay, so that's the aircraft, and we have a similar type of setup in a way for the sceneries. So it's like so just JSON defines the scenery. Those buildings we saw are being generated kind of procedurally. We have there can be a number of different types of generating things procedurally. So using a grid here. And the training field was just basically that without the buildings. The control inputs done in JSON. I have a little bit of fanciness because on the game controller, the sticks move in a circle. But actually on a real radio control transmitter, the sticks kind of go, the area they can move on is a square like you can actually see here. So we actually need to do a mapping of the circular gamepad inputs from their circular movement to the square. Otherwise you can't kind of get it into the corners. So we have things like that, and so overall settings on the system. And as I say, so took around about 8 hours of sitting in front of the prompt to generate this. It's hard to know how long it would have taken me to write it from scratch, but I think we'd probably be looking at about a month or so, so 20 working days. Okay,